I've been living alone for about 5 months now. Before this, I shared space with just about everyone: parents, siblings, friends, even boyfriends. You name it, I've probably lived with them. Living alone wasn't exactly the plan. I didn't picture myself single and living alone at 39, but life doesn't always go how we expect. And honestly, I'm okay with that. If things had gone the way I once imagined, married, a house full of kids, I probably wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation with you. And I like being here talking to you. Sometimes I do feel negative about living alone at 39, but when I really reflect, I realize those negative feelings stem from social expectations rather than from my actual happiness or unhappiness. And that's the real reason I made this video, not to criticize anyone who isn't living alone, but to share my perspective on why living alone can be great despite those external pressures. With that in mind, I have come up with 7 perks of living alone at 39. At first, living alone takes some adjustment. The constant silence can feel unfamiliar, even a little lonely, but over time you start to appreciate one of the biggest benefits: an overwhelming sense of peace in your home. Think about this. When you live with others, your environment is often shaped by their presence. You might come home to the TV blaring, someone cooking, or a roommate or family member wanting to chat. Even if you retreat to your room for quiet, interruptions still happen. Someone knocks, calls your name, or asks for help. It can be difficult to ask for some alone time without feeling like you're being rude. Now imagine having full control over your space. When you live alone, no one demands your attention. If someone calls or texts, you have the freedom to respond on your own time without worrying about seeming rude, because we all do it. You can relax, enjoy the calm, and talk when you feel like it. Of course, like anything in life, there are moments when the quiet feels refreshing and others when it feels a little lonely. But learning to embrace and even enjoy that solitude can be incredibly rewarding. For now, I'm enjoying this peaceful space and I'm not in any hurry to trade it in for noise anytime soon. One of the most underrated benefits of living alone is the control you have over the emotional energy in your space. People experience a wide range of emotions, and their moods can shift throughout the day. When you share a living space with others, you often find yourself navigating these emotional up and downs. One moment everything feels fine, and the next someone is having a bad day, feeling irritable, or just acting distant. And this can be exhausting, especially when their mood affects the overall atmosphere of the home. It's easy to feel like you're adjusting to their emotional state, and sometimes it's hard not to absorb their mood, even when it has nothing to do with you. Now compare that to living alone. When it's just you only have to manage your own emotions. If you're having a great day, there's no one else's negativity to bring you down. And if you're struggling, there's no added tension from others to make things worse. This independence also teaches valuable self-regulation skills. You become more in tune with what helps you reset, whether that's taking a long bath, listening to music, or simply sitting in silence. Pursuing goals that require time and focus can be challenging when you're living with others. No matter how well-intentioned, interruptions are inevitable. Take this YouTube channel, for example. When I first committed to making it a real goal, drafting videos, learning the ins and outs of YouTube, I was living with others and distractions were constant. Even something as thoughtful as, hey, I made you dinner, come have dinner with me, or can you help me with this or that? It pulled me away from my work. There was nothing wrong with those moments or what they were doing, but if I was deep in focus, that small interruption could and did throw me off track multiple times. Living alone eliminates those outside distractions. I don't have to compromise my space or time. If I'm in a zone, I can ignore calls and texts until I'm done, allowing myself to fully immerse in the work that I'm doing. It's a level of focus that would be much harder to maintain if I had to constantly navigate someone else's needs or emotions alongside my own. For anyone who values deep work and personal growth, solo living provides the ultimate environment for uninterrupted progress. I think it's my favorite part about living alone, honestly. Similar to getting to know yourself without outside influence, one of the biggest perks of living alone is having complete control over your decisions without needing to compromise. Your brain isn't constantly factoring in someone else's preferences, which allows your choices to be clear and more aligned with what you truly want. For example, if I decide to eat frozen pancakes one day and then suddenly switch to healthy eating the next, I can do that. No discussion needed. There's no back and forth about dinner plans, no dealing with, well, I don't like onions, or I'm trying to eat healthy, or I'm not hungry right now. To be fair, I'd probably be the one saying all those things, but that's not the point. The same goes for entertainment. I get to watch exactly what I enjoy without sitting through basketball games or comedies I don't care for. My time is spent fully immersed in what I like, whether that's Real Housewives or a good zombie movie, without having to negotiate. Beyond daily choices, I also have complete control over the bigger things. The car I drive, the place I live, and how I decorate my home. Every decision is based on my own style and preferences, and I absolutely love that freedom. At times, this might seem selfish, but after years of putting others first and doing what others want, I'm finally embracing this phase of prioritizing myself. And honestly, I think it's okay to be a little selfish. Living alone doesn't mean you always have to be alone. What it really gives you is the freedom to decide when you want to be around others. For instance, if I start feeling like I've been alone too much and it's starting to affect my mood, I can easily call a friend and spend time with them. Once I've recharged and feel more balanced, I can return to enjoying my own company. This balance is something I control. Living alone allows me to choose when and how I connect with others. I can prioritize socializing when it feels right and embrace the peace of solitude when I need it. One of the most valuable aspects of living alone is the opportunity to get to know yourself on a deeper level, without outside influences shaping your thoughts and decisions. When you share a home with someone, conversations naturally lead to shared perspectives. Over time, you start forming ideas together, which can be beneficial, but it also means your thinking is influenced by their viewpoints. Not every perspective is helpful, and when you constantly make decisions as a unit, you have to consider what's best for both of you. But what happens when you want to focus solely on what's best for you? Because, sometimes we do. Living alone provides that freedom. You can fully explore your own thoughts, make decisions without compromise, and develop a stronger sense of independence. And if you ever do want outside input, it's always an option. You can seek advice, visit friends, basically have discussions on your own terms. By giving yourself this space, you gain clarity about your own values, preferences, and goals, making solo living a powerful experience in self-discovery. Life has its fair share of both good and bad times, and in my experience, the main difference between living with someone and living alone lies in how those moments feel. When you live with someone, the good times are amplified. You have someone to celebrate with, laugh with, and share those special moments, which makes them feel even more rewarding. I know this, been there, done that. But when tough times hit, whether it's an argument, a misunderstanding, or just dealing with someone else's moods, the bad moments can feel heavier. The emotional weight of someone else's struggles can add to your own, making difficult days even harder to navigate. Living alone changes that dynamic. The good times are still enjoyable, but they might not feel as fulfilling as they would if you had someone to share them with. However, when bad times come, the benefit is that they don't feel as heavy because you're only managing your own emotions, not someone else's. While the tough moments are still hard, they're less complicated when you don't have to factor in someone else's feelings. Ultimately, like anything in life, both living with others and living alone come with their own set of pros and cons. Okay, that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye.